there can be this race for success and a lot of comparison amongst women. And so I want to just remind you that your unique frequency of power, like the one that you actually desire but you don't even know exists, comes from finding your own pace. So slow down to see yourself.
Sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take a ride, we can take it slow, yeah.
Well, welcome, Haila, to the Road to Self-Love. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you.
Same. So you and I connected just randomly on Instagram. You sent me a DM and you were like, Paul, I feel called to offer you a human design session. And it's wild because I've been getting so many of these messages from people on the internet who I haven't had the joy to know until they messaged me. And I'm so grateful that you reached out to support me with human design. I'd love to chat a little bit about what human design is, because I've known what it was and I had it, like, I know what my design was, but some of the things that you unlocked for me just by being able to understand who I am within my design have drastically supported me easing and making my life easier. So can you do like a high level download of what human design is?
Yeah. So human design is all of these esoteric practices brought into one. And it works with teaching the human being that we're not meant to lead our lives through our mind anymore. It's through the body. And it works with the energetic systems, which we can also define as the chakra system. But it states that every couple of years, we evolve new chakra systems. So it's not the original 7-point system anymore that's led by the mind. Now it's a 9-point system led by the body. And there are 5 designs, and each design teaches you how to work with your centers. So depending on your design, you have a specific authority. And that authority is a part of your body that guides you on your journey. And you and I are manifesting generators.
Yes, we are. Can you break down the 5 different designs so that people can hear them and just like maybe like 1 or 2 sentences as to like what their superpower is?
Yes. So I'll start with the reflector because I've been trying to create a relationship with this design. The reflector is completely open. All of their energetic centers are open. And there are people who believe that the best designs are the ones that are more defined, but open centers have the ability to pull wisdom. And for me, that's equal to less noise, more potency. So if a reflector knows how to work with their open centers, they may be more sensitive to information and stimulation and energy. But if they know how to work with it, they can be really good reflectors, right? They can reflect back to us the wisdom that we need in humanity. So that's the reflector. And then we have the projector. Projectors are designs who wait for an invitation. And their authority, depends on what motor is defined for them. But I work a lot with splenic projectors. And the splenic projectors are the projectors that are led by their intuition. And again, they wait for the invitation. They're not meant to initiate. So it's really interesting with projector men because usually women are like, oh, why aren't you initiating? That's not masculine. But actually, yes, it has nothing to do with masculine or feminine. They're meant to wait and they are guides. And then we have the manifestors. The manifestors are the initiators. They're the only ones in the designs that are meant to initiate. That's their strategy. They're meant to decide and take action. They're also meant to inform. And through that, they need other people to help them, create their projects because they don't have their sacral defined like you and I do. So they don't have enough energy to complete the project. And in that situation, they keep ending up thinking that there's something wrong with them, but there's nothing wrong with them. Human design shows us that we all need each other to create the whole vision. So it's a really beautiful method. And then we have the generators. Generators are sacral authorities. So they're the ones with the most energy. and they're the builders, they're the workers. Once they feel like they have the energy for something, they go all the way through, they complete it from the beginning to end, and they're very much needed with all of the other designs that don't have the sacral. And then we have us, the manifesting generators, who are hybrids. And even though we are hybrids, we're not meant to initiate. The difference between us and the generators is that we have our sacral connected to our throat. So we are quicker to respond to opportunities than generators, but we are meant to respond, not to initiate.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm just so grateful because my husband is a generator, and at the same time, he just doesn't get me. We have company coming tonight, and he was like, "Can you please clean your office?" And he asked me a week ago, and I'm still working on it. I'll take 15 minutes here and there, and I'm like, I need a break. And he walks in, organizes my closet in literally 10 minutes, and I was just like, how do you do that? It just doesn't feel good or exciting to me.
Yeah, for manifesting generators, it's really interesting because for a while I was like, do I have ADD? What's going on? I can start something like a manifester, but then I don't sit down and complete it straight through like a generator. And I started to realize that I need to make things fun for me. I need to open up creative portals within me so that I can flow with the creation or with the task that I'm moving through.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So if someone's like, ooh, this sounds interesting, what's the first step? Do you do one-off sessions for this type of jam for human design, or do you have a resource for someone to even find out what their human design is?
Yeah. So the Jovian archive, you can just Google that and then pull up your chart from there. You can find out what you are. You can see your chart. You can, see your gates. It's a very complex system. So I recommend getting a reading if you really want to understand it.
Mm-hmm. Can you dive a little bit into what, the shadow is? And because, yes, we hear it thrown around in the spiritual community all the time, but if for someone's listening, they're like, what does shadow integration even mean?
Yeah. So shadow is the subconscious part of the psyche. And I think it was coined by Carl Jung. And it is anything that we repress or suppress. And it can be because it was suppressed in our family. Maybe it was considered bad, or in society, it's bad or taboo. So there's a lot of, suppression. I think one of the biggest things is sexuality, expression. But I really do believe that majority of our expression comes from a connection with our sexuality, and creativity, again, which also comes a lot from our sexuality. And that's a lot from the sacral, and we're sacral authorities. So, that's our life force. It drives us forward. It allows us, excuse me, my voice, my throat chakra. It allows us to evolve and create and lead humanity forward, that expression, that evolution. And as you can see, our timeline in humanity, the more expressed people became, the more people started using their voices, the more people started allowing this creativity, to unleash and, their sexuality to be visible, the more we evolve as humans. It's really interesting. And the shadow is in the blind spot. So if you can't see it, you can't see it, right? But the way that you can detect a shadow is through a toxic behavior. So anything repressed comes out as something toxic. It's a part of you that is being treated very unkindly and being rejected. And so that relationship becomes toxic and it unleashes itself in a toxic way. And it can be super subtle too. It can be procrastination. It can be passive aggressiveness, whatever it is. Or it can be deep rage. It can be whatever part of the spectrum. And so we take that and then we begin to connect to the emotions relating to that behavior so that you can feel the emotions, feel the uncomfortable emotions. And as we move through the layers of discomfort, through that behavior, we begin to ask that part of your psyche, that part of your yourself questions to understand why it's doing that. So if it's procrastination, it's like, what are you avoiding? Why are you avoiding that? What need are you trying to get met? And as we connect to the shadow or that part of ourselves, we understand what need the shadow is trying to get met. And we learn how to integrate a new version of getting that need met, like a healthy version. And we do it over and over and over and over again until we integrate it into the subconscious. And that's how we integrate the shadow.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I like that. It's the piece that really struck a chord with me is just like, it shows up in like a toxic or a negative trait. And that doesn't have to be like this insane big thing, like addiction can be something tiny, just like that's generalized as something that isn't cute by society, So you have me thinking like, what? I mean, I know why, but it's just like, why do I thrive in like a mess? Because I got attention as a little boy when I was messy, and I rarely got attention and was craving it so much. But when my room was a disaster, my parents would come in and be like, "What are you doing?" They'd be yelling at me. And I'm like, "Finally, you notice me," That really just came to me right now. So giving, and then I'm like, okay, well, how can I give that attention to myself? Because I'm the only person that can actually show up for me the way that I want to be shown up for and desire to be shown up for. So we're working on it. It's a daily practice. Thank you for being here. Take it all in. I'm not even going to say anything. That's so beautiful. Oh, remember, you are worth it. You deserve it. And you are not alone. We'll see you next time. Bye.